Rangers lead the way, gentlemen. It's your boy Zach back at it again with another Ranger-themed video. So today is a kind of special day for me. September 22nd is the day that I graduated Ranger School, specifically September 22nd, 2017. So 5 years ago now. And it honestly doesn't feel like it has been 5 years. It feels like it was, maybe 2 years ago. So today I'm going to talk just a little bit about Ranger School. We're not going to get, super gritty about, how to prepare, like stuff to bring on your packing list. It's not on there. We're going to talk, kind of my experience with Ranger School, just short summary. And then we're going to talk some funny stories that happened to me and my buddies in Ranger School. Excuse the bugs. Working on setting up inside the house. That's the goal for the end of the month is, after October, or into October rather, is to be set up inside and not have to deal with the humidity, heat, and bugs that are, present in the garage. So, I initially went to Ranger School. I was class 617. We shipped out to CERT, which is Small Unit Ranger Tactics, which is the 75th Ranger Regiment's specific Ranger School prep program. It's, I think, 3 weeks long. Your first week is like basically it's almost a mini rap week. You do, a PT test, you do a ruck, a 12 miler, and you do some land nav. And it's like a mini rap week, but without the sleep deprivation. So it's kind of like hey, this is an assessment. Like if you can absolutely crush it with, decent sleep, then you'll be good to go before you go to Ranger School. Now, CERT changed. In the past, it used to be just a fuck down. Like, you used to go, and it was like basically like an extra phase of Ranger School, essentially. You'd go, and you show up, and you just get, absolutely skull fucked by the CERT instructors. But then they realized, like, sending dudes off into Ranger School already, kind of broken down wasn't getting as good of results as if they had, taken the time to actually teach them patrolling and make sure that they were in good physical condition to actually go and pass a rap week. One of the things that they started doing with our class was we would do a metronome push-up test. So, and everyone had to pass the metronome push-up test at the minimum Ranger School standard. I think that it's, I think 48 or 49 push-ups. It's something super low. But, like, it's a classic meme or trope of Ranger Schools. Oh, I got 48'd on push-ups or 47'd. I should have maybe figured this out before I started recording, but oh well. So CERT, and then my first day of actual Ranger School was the beginning of May of 2017. I think that's right. Yeah, it was like early May, late April maybe, but I'm pretty sure it was in May. So made it through rap week, no problem. My buddy Chris, he was another private in my squad who went with me at the same time. He got dropped during push-ups and then subsequently went back and was in my platoon during my recycle. We'll get to that in a minute. So Darby was a good time. Not really. I failed both my patrols and recycled. So our class was unique in the fact that it was the first class after the BRC recycle. So if you're in Ranger School and you recycle right before the Best Ranger competition, they basically closed down Ranger School for, like, I think a period of 6 weeks. And you're basically like, I don't want to say slave labor, but you basically are, especially at 4th RTB. And you get assigned repainting, like, all the black and gold that you see around Camp Darby. Like, you're basically helping set up and prepare for Best Ranger competition. And it's absolutely terrible. So a lot of the recycles in my squad had been, all of them were Best Ranger recycles, and they did not want to be there anymore. So they were very motivated to succeed and get out. And I don't think any of the BRC recycles in my squad, my first Darby squad, didn't make it. So I recycled Darby. It was a short recycle, luckily for me. It was just a week. And then, we moved on from there. Moved on to mountains. So I redid Darby. My second squad that I got, it was me, one other bat boy, and then a bunch of other PLs, not PLs per se, but officers who were either just coming out of West Point or just graduating IBOLC. And then there was a couple NCOs from like the 101st and the 173rd. And we got along really, really well. we started calling ourselves the Big Dick Squad, because in Darby you get 3 days of missions and patrols. At least when I went, it's changed. I don't know what it is now, but 3 days of missions and patrols. You come back, refit for like a day. I think it's a little bit longer than a day, and then you go back out for 3. And by the first 3 days, like just about everyone in our 17-man squad had their go. Like we were out there crushing it. So we're like, hell yeah, we're like Big Dick Squad. That's what we called ourselves all the way through to Florida. So we get through Darby. We make it to mountains. I make it straight through mountains by the skin of my teeth. My last look, I thought that I didn't need it. I thought they were putting me in a leadership position to help people out, and it turns out that I needed that look. And luckily, I performed on literally the last day of mountains, and then swamps, Florida. This is where it started getting whack. So I recycled swamps, Florida phase, twice. So I did 3 Floridas. I spent more time in the swamps, like out on patrol, just in Florida alone, than most people spend out during their entirety during Ranger School if they go straight through. So that was a bit of a head kick for me. And I'm going to talk in detail about each of the phases in general, but today we're just going to do a brief overview of my Ranger School experience and some cool stories. So, funny story from Darby phase. This is from my second Darby, and it was literally like the last day of patrols. Spirits were incredibly high, and there was one dude in our squad who didn't have his go yet, and everyone else pretty much had their go at this point. And this dude, he wasn't very well liked by the rest of Big Dick Squad, right? He was kind of a shithead, kind of didn't know what was going on, and it was his look. He was I think a Bravo team leader for a recce, or pretty sure it was for a recce, because I don't really remember. We didn't do an ambush that night, but he didn't know what the hell was going on. And literally all of us, when you're a Bravo team leader for a recce, you basically just got to take care of the ORP and make sure that everyone's awake and pulling security. It's a really super simple job. And we were still having to do his job for him, basically. So, like, we basically, like, did all his work. We did his sector sketches. We trooped the line ourselves. Like, this dude needed help, and we were giving it to him. And he ended up getting his go. However, because no one in Big Dick Squad liked him, or liked the fact that we had to basically hold his hand through getting his go, every single one of us peered him bottom peered. So after you do your patrols, you do peers, which is basically like an anonymous evaluation of the people in your squad, and you rate the top 3 and then your bottom 3. And this guy had his go, but every single one of us peered him out because he was just trash. Maybe that's not so funny. That's kind of sad to hear about, to think that you had your go and then we're gonna forcibly recycle you. But that's how they should work. Like, legitimately, this guy was a turd. So Big Dick Squad moved on to mountains. Mountain phase, Dahlonega. I'm going to try and go back to Dahlonega. I go up there occasionally and go camping because I have a map, and it's the coolest mountain place that I know of that's close to Savannah. It's still a 5-hour drive away, but I digress. Mountain phase. I don't remember which day this was, but it was deep into the FDX. I think it was probably in the second part. So in mountain phase, you have 5 days, a refit day, and then another 5 days out in the field. So we'll do 2 stories for mountains, because there's a couple good ones. So there was another dude in our squad. I'm not going to name his name. He was this tall, goofy PL, or I don't think he was a PL yet, but he was an LT, just butter bar lieutenant, straight out of Ibolic. Goofy dude, made it through Darby. He wasn't a bad dude, but he was just kind of tall and goofy, and kind of lost his mind when things started going weird, which they often do in Ranger School. And it was his look. He was a PL. He was in the graded PL position for an ambush, and our squad was doing our best. We're making sure that we helped him out, even though like we had our own squad leader, who was getting his own look that day. But we gotta help out the other homie to a degree. So I think we were on the ambush line. We were one of the assault squads, and we basically. This PL in my buddy Chris was actually I'm pretty sure he was either the platoon sergeant or the weapons squad leader for this mission. I want to say that he was the platoon sergeant because he was more involved in the actions on. Basically, this PL got us hella lost, as PLs do, and so Chris took over and basically walked them all up to the objective, walked us into the ORP, and then basically set up the entire ambush for him. And this dude, like, your PL is a job during ambush. Your job is to initiate the ambush, and we're all in line, we're all waiting, and this PL finally starts kicking it into gear and losing his mind, and like he starts sprinting up and down the ambush line, and he's got this AT4, like this shot out AT4 shell, which if you don't know what an AT4 is, it's this disposable rocket launcher shell, and you carry empty ones in Ranger School just to piss you off because they get caught on vines and shit and you're while they're strapped onto your ruck. And this PL was running up and down the ambush line trying to make sure everything was set, and he didn't sling this AT4. So the AT4, and in Ranger School, so let me back up. In Ranger School, you tie everything down to your person. Every single piece of sensitive equipment gets tied onto your fighting load carrier or your vest, your LBE, whatever you want to call it. And so this PL is running up and down, not slinging his AT4, and it's like flapping behind him, just getting caught in all this shit. And I don't know why, I just thought it was so hilarious watching this dude lose his mind and watching this AT4 just fly behind him like some kind of balloon. Same dude, different mission. We were just walking, as you do in mountains on the road, I think one of the nights. And because we were going slow, one of the RIs started to already sim us. And, you don't get much sleep in Ranger School. And this dude was just out of it. And we get already simmed, and I'm on the side of the road where we're kind of going uphill, and there's like a drop off on one side, and then there's like steep cliffs to the other. So I'm on the side of the road with the cliff. This guy is like kind of back to my right in the staggered column. And RD Sim goes off or starts going off. We all yell incoming, hit the deck, do the whole react to indirect. And this dude just straight up launches himself off the side of the road. He must have, thought there was like cover or like level ground on that side of the road. And he launches himself about 10, 25 feet down this like side of this mountain. We all kind of just like, what the fuck, dude? And the RRs run over, white light him, like, you good, Ranger? He's like, I can't feel my nuts. And I'm like, well, you don't need them right now. Get up back on the road. And he stumbles back up onto the road, and the rest of the night he was just walking and walking slow and complaining. So for Florida, we'll just tell, I'm drawing a blank on really funny stories here, so I'm going to tell, I guess, something that happened to me that was probably funny to someone else. I think this was my third Florida, and we're getting set up for an ambush as one does. And for whatever reason, this day I was just super out of it, like sun-baked, just completely, fried. My brain was gone. Like, I was exhausted as one is, but like more so than usual. Usually I was pretty good at keeping myself together during night movements and like doing stuff at night, even though you have just a single shitty night vision device. Like, I was used to the game at that point. Like, it was not really a big deal for me, but for whatever reason this night it was bad. We were setting up for an ambush, and I didn't do it very often or ever. I think this was the only night that it ever happened to me, but I was falling asleep walking. So in Ranger School, you see this all the time. You're going to see dudes just, while you're walking along the road, like, their head's going to go down and they're going to keep walking, or maybe they'll just stop in the middle of the road and start falling asleep standing up. Or what they'll do is they'll just veer off into the wood line somewhere, like just start walking thinking they're following, the rest of the patrol. So I was getting counted out of the choke point to go conduct this ambush, and I like fell asleep like right in the middle of the choke point, like just, and then I would wake up and like walk a little bit, and I'd fall asleep again. And eventually, like, one of the dudes' count was just, he like slapped me. He's like, hey, wake the fuck up, dude. And I think that did it. I was pretty much awake for the rest of at least that ambush. But it's just brutal out there, like, they're legit, like, you fall asleep on your feet. You fall asleep walking. And it's interesting to see the conditions and how people react to little no sleep. Like, your mind starts doing some wild stuff. You start hallucinating. You start hearing, like, for me, I didn't really get any visual hallucinations, but I would get auditory hallucinations a lot. Like, I would think someone was talking to me, or, like, I'd hear something talking over to my left, and I'd look, and it was just a tree. You get that a lot. A lot of dudes will like hallucinate and think that like trees are trees are people, and so they'll like start talking to a tree or start following a tree or like walking towards a tree thinking it's like the rest of the platoon. Happens to everyone at some point or another in Ranger School. But that's it. Super kind of brief. I had 6 months in Ranger School, so I've got a plethora of experiences here. But I wanted to give maybe a little bit of a comedic. They might not be that funny, but in the time they were. I'll talk about more Ranger School stuff in the future with the misadventures of Big Dick Squad. Hopefully y'all enjoy this. I mean, the Ranger tab is ultimately, at the end of the day, just a qualification. It isn't, the end-all, be-all, and not everyone with the Ranger tab automatically becomes a badass. It's kind of a rite of passage for Rangers in a Ranger regiment. If the tab said anything besides Ranger, we probably wouldn't be forced to go to the school. We'd probably, have our own kind of Ranger school. If it was like a recondo school or something, we wouldn't be forced to go. But because it says Ranger and because we are the Ranger regiment, they're like, all right, you guys are going to Ranger school. And it is, a pretty legitimately good leadership school as far as small unit infantry tactics, which, it's not, there's not really anything else like it, at least in the U.S. Army. I'm sure that there's other nations' militaries have equivalents. But yeah, that's all I got for today, gentlemen. Like and subscribe. If you haven't followed me on Instagram yet, you can find me at Zach Allred Official or Rockwell Designs Actual. I've got merch and gear if you want to support me in this endeavor on my website, rockwell-designs.com. I've got some AK chest rigs coming out later this month. I've got some pistol caliber carbine and SMG rigs available right now. And I've got T-shirts and a few other little goodies up on that website. So check it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.